Hey folks, welcome to another Q&A video, Wednesday Q&A video, this time coming to you live. So if you are on this call live, then feel free to drop your questions in. We'll figure out and see if we can answer some live questions. But I am going to do the usual and answer the questions that have been sent in advance. So firstly, excuse the smart shirt. I know I'm usually sat in a tent in a hoodie. But different day, different circumstances. So this is what we're working with. Today's first question comes from Pretty Prival 95. Thank you for your question. Hey Greg, quick question. Can a plant-based diet reverse a non-alcoholic fatty liver? It's pretty well known that following a keto diet can do it, since carbs and sugar is bad for non-alcoholic fatty liver. So it's a really good question, and it's one that the plant-based doctors have touched on over the years. And there are a few studies out there that do suggest that a plant-based diet, or even a vegetarian diet, which is one that would still include some dairy and eggs, can be good for a non-alcoholic fatty liver. The basic thing, the first thing, really, the fundamental thing that you've got to think about with fatty liver is just excess body fat. And a vegan diet can certainly help with that, because there's studies all over the place showing that vegans are generally lighter, generally have less body fat percentages than their meat-eating counterparts. So straight off the bat, having less body weight on you, not being obese or overweight, is going to be a good thing towards not having, reversing, preventing, avoiding non-alcoholic fatty liver. But further to that, there are studies. If you Google something like non-alcoholic fatty liver diet, or just search for on PCRM, the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, you'll find some information, some studies that have shown that vegetarian diets do reduce the instances of non-alcoholic fatty liver by, I think it's around 10 to 15%. They also found in the same study that refined foods are a contributor as well. So we're not suggesting here that all vegan diets are healthy, and that's certainly never been a suggestion on this channel. I know there is a little bit of a misconception out there sometimes that all vegan diets are healthy. It's not the case. You can certainly a very unhealthy vegan diet, especially when it's loaded with fat and refined foods in general. But refined foods now do add, I think, about 3 to 10% of your chances, your instances of non-alcoholic fatty liver. So in a word, yes, this whole foods plant-based diet, the whole eczema healing program that we talk about on this channel, it can help a whole host of other things, including non-alcoholic fatty liver. Moving on, the next question comes from Kelsey Baptiste. Under one of the videos that I made about enemas and using a home enema kit, Kelsey has said, when's the best time of day to do an enema? I didn't realize this helps with eczema. I'm doing it for an at-home Ayurvedic Panchakarma treatment. That sounds fun. But I also have eczema, so it's a double score. It is indeed a double score. As you know, if you've watched that video, the purposes of an enema are to completely flush and cleanse out any toxins that have been dropped down into the colon during the course of the day. And if you can get that out before you go to sleep, it's going to do wonders for the amount of healing, restoration work that you can do whilst you're asleep. So therein lies the answer. Right before bed is the best time that you can do an enema, because if you've had a day of eating, digesting food, and you've not cleansed out and detoxified and had perfect bowel movements that day, then doing an enema right at the end of the day to cleanse out any leftover waste products that are still in there, to avoid them being reabsorbed back into the body, get your enema done. Just a water enema is fine. Don't get too bogged down with any other fluids. And I certainly don't recommend coffee enemas. But just using water to do an enema before you go to bed can certainly help you get rid of any stray toxic debris that's in your system. Next question from Pepsi. Hi, I was meant to get UV therapy, but I refused to get it as my cousin had it before and he said it wasn't effective. Now my dermatologist wants me to get on Dupixent. I just want to know what you think of it and if it is effective long term. What do I think of Dupixent? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It doesn't make sense to me. It's not part of the health model, in my opinion. If you don't know, there's a health model and there's a medical model. The health model being you do the same things to stay well as you do to get well in the first place. The medical model being you take something whilst you're well, but then once you're well, you stop taking that thing and you don't do it again because it could be dangerous. Dupixent for me falls into the latter category, and I don't feel like it is a long-term solution. There's mixed reviews, reports out there. By all means, do your own research. I'm not a medical doctor, and I'm not allowed to tell you what drugs you can and can't take. But I certainly wouldn't recommend it to any of my clients, and I certainly wouldn't want to do it myself. I would much rather figure out what is going on deep inside my body and find how to turn off the things that are causing my eczema from deep within my body. Usually, 99 times out of 100, this is to do with the gut. So once you start monitoring your digestion and you start eating the right food and your lifestyle starts being more conducive to healing, and you get into a more active lifestyle, better sleep, better hydration, these are all the things that can turn your eczema off from deep within inside of you. That is way, way, way more what I recommend than going down the lines of any sort of pharmaceutical drugs. Last couple of questions here from Sophie. What's algae and is eczema genetic? So algae is, you've probably seen lots of algae in your life. If you've ever been near a pond, or like especially a stagnant pond, you'll see algae growing on the surface. It's stuff that fish feed on. It's very low down in the food chain, and that is why algae has come to the fore as a superfood, because it's super absorbable. It's really rich in nutrition, and so blue-green algae, things like chlorella, spirulina, and the really special blue-green algae that you get from America, from the Upper Klamath Lakes, in, is it Oregon, Utah, somewhere over there. That is well known for being the most powerful blue-green algae that you can take for health. It's one of the few whole food supplement products that I do believe in. I do think that it's worthwhile to include as part of your healing journey, and I'm on the lookout for a partner, a UK supplier that I can work with and try products and recommend them, because I had a good supplier way back in the day, but they don't exist anymore. That's what algae is. It's something that's very low down, thereby very absorbable for the human body, and so it can be very effective at bypassing a damaged digestive system to get nutrients straight into your bloodstream. And your other question, is eczema genetic? Well, generally, yes, it is. You've got a genetic disposition for eczema. Any of us who've had eczema in the past or still have it, we tend to have a genetic disposition for it, and that's why when we start disobeying the laws of nature, our body finds eczema first. That's the genetic disposition, so you don't necessarily inherit the eczema per se, but you inherit the instruction book, you inherit the algorithm, if you like, such that if you disobey the laws of nature, your body will go down the eczema route rather than, say, the cancer route or the tuberculosis route, or these other things that are also genetic but can be avoided with the correct lifestyle. So, as we like to say, the genetics load the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger. So you might have a strong genetic disposition for lots of different things, as I do. I have a strong genetic disposition for asthma, hay fever, allergies, eczema, all of that stuff. But with a lifestyle that prevents all of that, I can almost completely eradicate all parts of it. Certainly completely eradicate eczema and asthma. I do still get a bit of hay fever though. Right, I think that's about it for today. Thank you very much for sending in your questions. Stay tuned for next week's Q&A. It's going to be on Wednesday again. And if you want your questions answered in that session, then please send them to me beforehand as a direct message on Instagram. On Instagram, I am at eczemahealing. And alternative to that, you can just comment below this video. I read all the comments and I respond to all the questions. That's it for today. You're free to go. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.